Hello, all Serie A fans, and in particular AC Milan fans. In this episode, we're going to kind of go over some of the transfer targets of Milan in each position going forward, as well as my general opinion on squad selection, who we should get in the upcoming short transfer window here. As we all know, this is a crazy kind of year with COVID-19 happening. But that being said, everything has been kind of moving a little bit better for Milan in the past few months, with us going on a really fantastic win streak. And I believe in primary part due to Zlatan Ibrahimovic's influence on the entire team, causing a good slew of certain players to play much, much better than they have been playing for most of the season, namely Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Frank Kessié, and Ante Rebic, as well as Samu Castillejo, and Alexis Salamakers. He just gives everybody a focal point and holds people accountable. Another honorable mention there is Rafael Leao, who has also been doing better under the tutelage of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So that's a little recap of the end of the season, but let's kind of get to it here and start with some transfers. So without further ado, we will start at the back with goalkeeping. So first, we will look at the primary keeper that we have, as everybody probably already knows, Gianluigi Donnarumma, who has been fantastic this season. He is quickly becoming the talisman of the Rossoneri. In my opinion, he's actually becoming more of the talisman than our current captain, which is Alessio Romagnoli. And I think that eventually he might even take the captaincy from him, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's not too important. What is important is that it's not really a signing, but we just keep him signed and we renew his signature for the coming years. I think that is priority number one, to secure our goalkeeping slot. Secondarily, on the goalkeeping slot, I think we need to also make sure that we keep Alessandro Plesari on the books. He's an excellent goalkeeper. I actually think that in the future he could be one of the top Italian goalkeepers. Who knows in the future? He might even be better than Donnarumma. Maybe not. Who knows? But I think that he's definitely one to not let get away. We either loan him or at the very most, if we wanted to make some profit, we sell him, but with a very easy to obtain buyback option. In no way, shape, or form should we let him ever permanently leave, in my opinion, because I feel like he's an excellent keeper and could be a gem in the making. So that's the goalkeeping department. Next, we move on to the defensive department. Center backs, we have a combination of Alessio Romagnoli, Simon Kjaer, and I believe that the signing of Simon Kjaer was brilliant. I'm really glad that our management decided to go through with it. I feel like he has given us a level of defensive stability that we have not seen in a long, long time. That being said, I really wish that we would just bring Mattia Caldara back. That way we don't have to invest in a new defender and pay extra money. I feel like the combination between Gabbia, Caldara, Kjaer, and Romagnoli is more than good enough to head forward. But alas, I believe that Atalanta will probably redeem him because we made one of the worst deals in Rossoneri history with the tentative sale of Caldara to Atalanta. Lo and behold, they will probably redeem that, so we will be without him. So there's been talk about loaning Gabbia. I think we probably keep Gabbia. I feel like he's already proven that he can start if possible, and with more games under his belt, he's only going to get better. We're probably going to sell Musacchio, which is fine. People kind of hate him for some reason, or at least they don't like him very much. I think he's always been a very loyal servant of the team. He always plays hard. He does a good job, but he's probably not going to want to ride the pines and play backup. So that's okay if we sell him as long as we get a pretty decent price for him. Next is Duarte, who is the Brazilian. He's been injured ever since he got here. He may be talented, he may not be, but I think he's the main reason why we're looking at bringing in another center back, because if he was healthy, we wouldn't worry about it, but he's not. So I think that we do need one more center back, and for that position, I really do like Milenkovich. It's a really good link. He's strong. He's deceptively quick. He's not, overall fast, but he is quick. He responds to the ball well, and he's very powerful in the air, which, to be completely honest, Alessio Romagnoli is not. He's average in the air, but he's not a powerful guy. So I think that bringing somebody like that next to him, which is what Simon Kjaer also brings, he's smart and he's also more physical than Romagnoli, it is a very good thing. So I like the signing of Milenkovich. The problem is, where is he going to play? Because who's going to start, who's going to sub? So my choice for saving us budget would be to bring back Caldara. That won't happen, so I like bringing in Milenkovich. Okay, next for side backs. A lot of talk about the right side. Left side, let's start off with that because it's going to be very easy. So Teo Hernandez is going to be the starter. We know that. Diego Laxalt will most likely be sold. To be completely honest, I don't really care if he's sold or not. I think he's a fine backup, But if we do sell him for 8, 9, 10 million, and then we bring in, I believe, and we're bringing in Anthony Robinson from the U.S., which I believe should be a very cheap deal. I just read rumors it's only going to be like 2 million or something. So if we can make that deal, save a lot of money, and bring in Robinson as the backup, that's fine. All we need is a deputy left back. So whether that's Laxalt, whether that's Robinson, whoever, as long as it's cheap, I think we're good there. For the right side, we already brought in Kalulu, which I think is actually a great purchase because it was for free, and he can actually play center back or right back, but he's young, and so he'll probably start the season in the Primavera. So we're going to try to get a secondary right back because people are talking about selling both Andrea Conti and Davide Calabria, and for some reason they're talking more about selling Calabria. I think this is completely wrong. I feel like we're going to have another Matteo Darmian situation where he actually ends up being a very good player. I feel like Andrea Conti is the one that I would sell. He has not been the same after his knee injury, and I don't see really any way back for him. He's even lost his pace. He's just not the player that I feel like deserves to be here. Whereas Davide Calabria has shown a lot of good things in the past few games, and I feel like with more consistency, he could get there. That being said, I feel like he should share time with another right back. Maybe that's Kalulu. It's probably not, though, so we probably do need to sign a right back. I'm okay with any of the links that we've had so far. A lot of people are tossing around different names, including Denzel Dumfries, which I think is a pretty decent idea, as well as Serge Aurier, which I think is also pretty decent. I don't think any one of those are going to be fantastic choices. I don't think any one of them are going to be world beaters. The other option that seems to have been a faded link now is I believe it's Paolo Giglione from Genoa, I believe he plays for. I may be wrong there, but that also seemed like a pretty solid link. I think any one of those three is going to be fine, as long as there's some competition at right back. I would prefer keeping Calabria and have him battle it out, whichever one of those three that we decide to bring in, and that should be suitable for right back. The other name that's been talked about is Emerson Royale. I don't believe this transfer is really going to happen because I feel like he's going to be too expensive. But he plays for Barcelona. He's going to be pricey. I think he's the best of the bunch between the other three that I've mentioned, but I don't think that's really going to happen. So we'll see. It might, but I also don't know if it's worth spending that much money on him. Yes, I think he's the best of the bunch, but he's still relatively unproven. Who knows if we really need to spend that much money at that spot in the market. We'll see. But those are my thoughts for right back. Then we move into midfield, which was easy a long time ago. But after the resurgence of Franck Kessié, things have changed. So I believe that Franck Kessié has definitely earned his spot to stay at AC Milan, but with him being very up and down over the past few years, I don't believe that he is the out-and-out easy choice for starter. I feel like we actually need to bring in a real starter as well, and they can go and battle it out. And truthfully, I believe that the guy who I really want us to get, my top transfer target, the one that I feel that is Milan through and through, is Sandro Tonali. He's a Milan fan, born and raised Milan fan. I mean, this is the type of guy that we need to bring some Milan DNA back to the club. That being said, we also have barely any Italian players anymore, which is not a very cool thing for me. I grew up watching this team. I love their story of how Inter and them split apart because Inter wanted to go more international. Milan said, no, we always want a strong Italian core, and then we'll buy world-class foreigners. We have gone so far away from this that it's sometimes hard to watch because I feel like the core of Milan is so different now. Come from watching Gattuso, Pirlo, Ambrosini, Pippo Inzaghi, Maldini, Nesta. These are world-class players that really gave caliber and class to the team. And then we bought world-class foreigners like Kaká. I mean, this is what Milan was, and now it's just buying the best value. And I understand it because our budget hasn't been there, but it is definitely time to return Milan to where it needs to be. It's pretty sad when Inter Milan, the team that split from Milan to be more international, has more starting Italians than Milan. That's a bad place to be. So Sandro Tonali is the guy for many reasons, not only because he's an Italian, but two, because of his affinity for Milan and because he fits the role perfectly. He can play the Bennacer role. He can play the Kessié role. He does a little bit of both, and he's super promising and has the potential to be better than both. So I think it's wise to bring in another starter into the mix here because two midfielders for your entire season is not going to get you anywhere special. It's going to get you top 7, but it will not get you into that top 4, and it will not get you Champions League. This will allow them to compete it out, and truly the best two will be the primary starters. So that's the top target for me. I feel like you can get him for somewhere between 30 and 35 million, and I think it's well worth it because he's going to be here for a decade. So that's a very wise choice and my top target for midfield. Afterwards, for midfield, there's been a lot of other choices tossed around with Tamuya Bakayoko. There's been other links between Arsenal as well, with Torreira. There's also been links with Florentino Luis and Marc Roca. I think that Marc Roca is not coming to us. I think he's a great talent. Florentino Luis might, but I believe that it's either Florentino Luis or it's Sandro Tonali. Personally, I think Tonali is the guy, not Florentino Luis. If we can get him both, awesome. Sounds great. I highly doubt it based on budget. Bakayoko, on the other hand, might be able to get him for very cheap because they've been trying to offload him. He's willing to take a hefty salary cut. And so if we can get Bakayoko for 15 million, which I was reading talks about his price being cut from 30 to 40 all the way down to 20, if we can shave more off of that, get him for 15, and he takes a salary cut, bringing in Bakayoko and Tonali, you have an amazing four-man midfield that will rival any team out there. You've got a good mix of youth and kind of middle age there. Nobody's old in the midfield, but nobody's, like a 5-year-old as well. Tonali would be the youngest, but it's not like you're only running young kids. So I like it. It's a good balance, and that would be really, really strong and reasonable too, budget-wise. So that's my midfield take. I think we primarily look at Tonali, and then we consider getting either Bakayoko or Luis. There's also the ability, if everybody else is too expensive and we only can bring in one of them, sure, bring in one of them, but then we were looking at maybe bringing back in Tommaso Pobega, which will be okay. And then also bringing back Matteo Pessina. I think that Pessina is more ready than Pobega, so I would prefer to keep Pobega on our books, maybe loan him out again, do something like that, and then bring back Pessina to be more versatile because he can play, in the central mid, D mid, or he can really play in that attacking mid. He's not really a D mid, but I'm sure he could play in a double pivot in a crunch. So that would be my choice if we wanted to keep it cheap. All right, then we have to move on to the sides here. Now that has been definitely a different point of contention because some people have really started to step up. Before I thought we needed a complete overhaul, both left and right side. Now it's not so much. On the left side, Ante Rebic has just established his position as a deadlock. I don't think I would change Ante Rebic for anybody out there right now. He fits this team. He works hard. He's not a diver, which, to be completely honest, I love those kind of hard-nosed players. I think it's about time we got some back in Milan. I'm really happy for that. And he's definitely earned his chops. The cool thing is that when Ibrahimovic is out, he can slot into that kind of false nine role as well, and he does it well. And he's proven that with the right service and with the right team attitude, he's a really good player. So I think he's locked his spot up on that left side of the 4-2-3-1, who can also play striker when need be. We will need somebody who can kind of play deputy to that, and that's going to have to be probably Rafael Leao at this point since he's kind of going between the two sides. Samu Castillejo can also swap both sides as well as Alexis Salamaker. So I think we have enough depth there. So the question comes to quality on the right side now. And I do really enjoy our links right now, although the price may be too much, with Federico Chiesa. I think he's the perfect guy to bring in for that spot. He's exciting, he's quick, he works hard, he can produce goals, and he's always dangerous with the ball, and he makes great runs off the ball. If you've got Chiesa working, you've got Rebic working, you've got Ibrahimovic, you've got great speed and great service to a guy like Ibrahimovic who's going to draw defenders away. That is a super threatening and dangerous attack. And then you bring on guys like Castillejo, Rafael Leao, Alexis Salamakers. You have actual game changers now that you can bring off the bench, true quality, who in a pinch can also start, which is fantastic, that can now really truly have depth out wide and are pretty versatile because Leao not only is playing on both right or left, can also play up top in a different way that Ibrahimovic can play. So I think it's a really, really smart choice to buy a quality player there. And if you haven't noticed, that's been kind of the theme. For me, I always think it's better to buy fewer quality players rather than buy a mass amount of decent players. Because I feel like one of those options rises your team level, and the other one just keeps it very level, and it's almost like a sideways move. So that's why I want to make the upgrade, really try to sign Tonali in midfield, sign Chiesa for the wing. You've now jumped up your quality significantly. Sign Milenkovich for center back. 3 top signings that make a big statement that Milan is back. And then you get some depth. Last position is center forward. Now, I guess, slash striker. That's definitely going to be locked up by Ibrahimovic. Number one, got to renew him. Absolute must. He has been way more than just a striker for us. His striking has been great, but really it's his mentality, his class, and the fact that he's actually a champion. Absolutely zero people on this AC Milan team have won anything besides him and Simon Kjaer, and those two people we have picked up just in this past winter, and it's made a massive difference. You cannot win if you've had absolutely zero experience. It just won't happen. You got to have somebody who's been there, done that. At least one guy, just for the locker room. And Ibrahimovic has done more than enough, so he is a definite renewal. Now, he is very, very old as far as footballing or soccer terms go, so we have to get somebody who can deputize for him when out. Rafael Leao is fine, but it will definitely be time to bring in somebody else. So some of the links have been with Gianluca Scamacca. I think that's actually totally fine. He's tall, he's physical, he's a pretty decent athlete. He's kind of Ibra-esque, obviously without the majestical skills that Ibrahimovic does possess, but similar-ish. So I think that he can learn very well from it. I think that's a decent choice as long as his price is not too much. If budget was no option, my main choice would have always been Andrea Belotti. He's a Milan fan for life. He wanted to come here years ago. I thought we should have brought him in years ago when we were looking at him. I didn't really care about the price. I thought he'd be perfect. And so that really was something that I thought we should have done. Yet, now with the budget being where it is, I think we have other things to worry about. So unfortunately, I know we will never go back down that route. Something else that seems to have progressed just today as I am making this video here on the 11th of August is that we have seemingly picked up a striker, Emil Roback, who is from Hammarby, and he's a pretty talented young kid and looks like he should be joining Milan very shortly. He's a striker, so that may be the kind of deputy to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and I believe Ibra probably played a part in that because Ibrahimovic, as many of you probably know, he is a part owner of Hammarby in Sweden, and so this is where Roback has come from, and he's been very highly rated, and so we're going to only get him for, I think, a very, very low fee of 1.5 to 2 million. I mean, whatever his salary is, we'll see, but seems like a very promising signing. So we may not even need Scamacca, we may not even need a different striker. We're probably just going to run Ibrahimovic and hope that Roback and Rafael Leao and Ante Rebic, if need be, can deputize at that center forward / striker role. If we did want to get somebody who really could take us to the next level after Ibra, my choice is still Belotti, but that's going to be very, very pricey, so we'll see. I think that's a decent start, though, is getting Roback, and you have Leao as well. I think that's totally fine. One spot that we did not mention yet was the attacking midfield spot, and before I would have said that this is a very easy sell, get rid of Çalhanoğlu. He is about as average can be. But the past few months, he has played remarkable. And to be completely honest, I'm actually quite surprised he's played this well. And I believe that most of it is due to the influence of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. One, it's putting him back in his natural role, putting him at attacking midfielder, which is something that I've been suggesting for a long, long time. Same with Lucas Paqueta. I feel like he needs to be an attacking mid as well. You just can't get the value out of Çalhanoğlu and Paqueta at center mid that you can at attacking mid. You need them close to goal. You need them to be creative. You need them to start trying to take shots, try to score goals, make very incisive passes to create chances. You got to get them away from the very deep-lying center of the field. So that's a good change. I'm glad that Pioli finally has figured out the formation, which was not saying that I'm some genius or anything, but I thought that the 4-2-3-1 should have been the formation from the start, given the talent that we had on this team. So Çalhanoğlu is a bit of a strange one for me. He's always been somebody that I have not been too positive about because I feel like he's one of those players that just flatters to deceive. He has so much talent and skill, and he's one of those guys who's almost there, and he's always almost getting there, but he never really takes that jump in quality. Well, he just did. That being said, it was only for a few months, so we will see, and time will tell if he can carry this into the next season. But I think at least right now, he's kind of earned his right to stay at the club. That being said, if a massive offer came in for him, you may consider selling him and going and picking up a guy like a Castrovilli or trying to get a Nicolo Zaniolo. We'll see. But if there's not that possibility to give him or to give an accurate replacement for Milan, like those aforementioned players, I feel like we should probably hang on to Çalhanoğlu because he has definitely earned his chops over the past few months, and I think he at least deserves the right to continue on this next little period here and see how he does next season. So summing it up, goalies, renew Donnarumma, make sure we keep Plazzari. Sidebacks, keep Calabria, sell Conti, bring in one of the three, whether it's Denzel Dumfries, Emerson Royale, Paulo Guilione, or Serge Aurier, whichever one is a decent price and nothing too much of a ripoff. As far as center back goes, I like bringing in Milenkovich. A outside chance of bringing back Caldara, I don't think it's going to happen. So I would just bring in Milenkovich if possible. I would try to use Lucas Paqueta as a bargaining chip for either Milenkovich or Chiesa or both. As far as midfield goes, by far my number one target and who I would like us to get over any other player would be Sandro Tonali. I think he could be the future of Milan. He could fight for a starting spot between Franchesi and Benacer and himself and see who wins out. Additionally, for that other midfield spot, if we do end up selling Rade Krunic, Billy is going to be gone. A lot of our depth will be gone there. We may consider bringing in one more talent, whether that's Mark Roca, whether that's Bakayoko, whether that is Florentino Luis. Whoever's price is able to drop low enough and their salary is not going to be too crazy, I say we bring them in. Then we have 4 top midfielders that are all capable of starting, very competitive. It's definitely going to be good enough to take us through the Europa League as well as Serie A and fight for the championship of Serie A. That would be a fantastic thing to finally bring us back. As far as the attacking midfield roles goes, if there's any chance in hell to keep Giacomo Bonaventura, we should do that. I think it's ridiculous that we're selling him. He's not that old. He's not expensive. I think he costs us about $1 million a year to keep for a salary, which is nothing in soccer terms for a guy like that. So I feel like it's a no-brainer to keep him. I think our management's being very, very stupid about selling him, and I can't believe we're doing it. That being said, if he goes, I think that we should probably bring back Matteo Pessina as a deputy to Çalhanoğlu because Paqueta will most likely be sold. So that will at least be a decent replacement for an attacking midfielder in case Çalhanoğlu, he's not going to be able to play every game. It's going to be a long season. He might get injured. We're going to need somebody who can do it. And so bringing back Pessina to kind of deputize in that role I think is not a bad idea. He's going to be cheap and may work out for us there. As far as the wings go, I think we only need one signing here, and that would be Federico Chiesa for the right side. I believe that between Ante Rebic, Federico Chiesa, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you have an amazing attacking core, and you have good depth. You've got Rafael Leao, you've got Samu Castillejo, and you've got Alexis Salamakers, who are all very versatile. Most of them can play on each side. Leao and Rebic can deputize as center forwards, and we just picked up Emil Robak as a backup striker. There, we may still be looking for a striker who is a little bit more known, who can play when Ibrahimovic is not playing, since it's going to be a long season playing both Serie A and Europa League as well as Coppa Italia. So there's no way Ibrahimovic can play all those games. So we need to bring in at least one more quality striker. If there's a chance, I would ideally want Belotti, but I really don't think that's going to happen. That's just my wish list. So I would say maybe consider Scamacca. Maybe consider Milik, but Milik may be pricey as well. So we'll see about center forward. But that's pretty much the summary of what I would like to see brought in here. And truthfully, I would be excited if we were able to bring back, 2 to 3 Italian players. I feel like Milan has really lost their Italian identity of late, and Inter Milan is starting to look more Italian than AC Milan, which is something I brought back up earlier in this audio video, and I really dislike that that's happening. I miss the days, that I was able to see Maldini, Ambrosini, Nesta, Pirlo, Gattuso, but also players like Kaká and Seedorf and Cafu. I mean, the blend of that was perfect, and it really accurately described what AC Milan was and should still be. I still believe that the team should have a very strong Italian core and bring in world-class foreign talents, and it's that beautiful blend that makes Milan wonderful, and we've really gone away from that of late, and I hope to get that back this transfer period. We'll see. Those are my thoughts. List your thoughts below if you disagree, agree. If you like what you've heard today, consider subscribing. I'm going to try to be more active. Work has been pretty busy, so I actually haven't been as active of late on here, so I'm going to try to bring out some little points here and there. It's going to be a longer video today. I'll do some shorter kind of 5 to 10 minute blurbs here and there, but thank you for listening, and Forza Milan.